Thanks everyone for joining today. Our presentation topic today is the digital thread racetrack, really helping people understand where is the actual on-ramp so that you can get digital thread value out of your systems. My name is Patrick Dunphy. I'm the Anarch VP of Marketing and Alliances, and happy to take you through this today. Everyone has seen this at different times, where you have a racetrack type of closed loop digital utopia, where you have systems like PLM and ERP, SEM, connected factories with Industry 4.0 technology, smart connected products, phoning home and sharing information about what it's like out in the real world. And you have this entire closed loop racetrack that companies show and companies talk about where they're going. The only challenge with that is it's ultimately a myth about the digital thread that this is how the world is working today. And that's in large part because these are the systems and the data and the things, the products and factories where work gets done. But actual work gets done by the people and looks an awful lot more like this, where you have a whole host of conversations, collaboration, and discussions happening outside of those systems of record. And so just as an example, really quickly here, you could have someone who accesses content in a PLM system, accesses design information, takes a screenshot of that content, then continues to mark up that content, send that as an email attachment to one of their colleagues, and then they begin to discuss that in Microsoft Teams, in other chat tools, and they continue to go about collaborating with each other well outside of the digital thread. And so what needs to happen is we need to bring these types of conversations back into the loop and close that loop with the digital thread and all of the people that do the actual work. One anecdote that we actually heard recently is some people are taking design data from PLM, and for design for manufacturing purposes, they create their own designs so that they can actually manufacture the part. Now that design data is also outside of the digital thread. So we need to be able to close the loop. Or maybe you have a 2D print that's required for a supplier, and they have to then create and sign a document that comes back to you as well and submit that for verification and validation testing. All of these elements, all of these components should be a closed, connected part of your digital thread strategy. But simply today, it's not. And that's in large part because you have product data that sit in siloed systems. You have proprietary formats that make downstream data sharing nearly impossible, especially for a lot of the small medium manufacturers in the supply chain. You have engineers who are the human-powered digital thread manually packaging data from multiple systems, and it's time-consuming, cumbersome, and error-prone so that people can get the data. And then there's a lot of questions that have to be answered, and it's back and forth. Again, these red circles outside of this digital thread. So data gets shared from email, file sharing systems, and IP risk, of course, can come into play. And quite frankly, users can't collaborate around static data. They need it to be real-time connected to version control. So what happens when you put something in email? You have a point-in-time capture of what that data looked like, and you're never able to stay synchronized with the authoritative source information. We can do better than that, and that's exactly what we're setting out to do here at Anarch, where we are connecting people and their collaboration data to the digital thread with complete traceability and security in mind. So you have all of this essential product development IP that in the top left here, engineering and product management teams typically access and manage through PDM or PLM and use desktop tools and CAD and visualization tools. But then you have manufacturing teams, procurement teams, service and sales internal to the organization. And then external to the organization down at the bottom, you have suppliers and partners and customer stakeholders. All of these individuals should have equal access to all of the content and all of their work, all of the collaboration, all of the great ideas that they have that typically fly around in those red circles on that last slide should be connected and closed as a loop back into a digital thread. This isn't just specific to manufacturers. This is something that happens more broadly in the industry. In fact, this Harvard Business Review article talks very clearly about that, how a lot of work happens in largely specialized applications. And what that results in is invisible work, where employees are bringing data, information, and insights to the spaces where they're actually making decisions. These are their collaboration tools. This is where they're working day to day, but they're taking data out of the specialized applications and bringing it to a place that's disconnected from that thread. And so what happens is you have these disconnects, and ultimately people are looking for a way to have their data integrated to the way they work in their collaboration platforms. So now taking that down a level into the manufacturing industry, it's no surprise that this research from Lifecycle Insights that surveyed over 200 manufacturers came back with companies who are creating technical data packages to share technical data from authoritative source systems, but don't feel like they're doing a good job of that. And engineers, of course, are the human-powered digital thread that solves the problem time and time again, where they spend at least 50% of their time on finding, packaging, sharing, answering questions about the data, then finding or taking a screenshot and re-answering a question, and then repackaging the data or creating a specific derivative from the authoritative data to answer a question. And they waste a lot of cycles doing that. And then, of course, email attachments are still prevalent. More than half of companies are still using email attachments to share product data, which is staggering, to be honest, because that certainly relates to IP concerns. You can't have email attachments going out there around the world to share product data. So what happens? What's the result? Well, your suppliers, a lot of folks within an organization start to feel like this individual standing in a dark basement with antiquated technology and at times paper-based systems to try and solve challenges. And they have missed delivery targets and IP risks and limited supplier and customer visibility and cumbersome processes to really connect data from where it lives to where the people are working on a day-to-day basis. So it's no shock that the digital thread collaboration landscape is a bit fractured today. PLM add-ons are fantastic for managing connected change process, complex bills of material, CAD data management, and all of the central data management processes for product lifecycle management. But it's a cumbersome user experience that not everyone can utilize. And it's not even possible sometimes to share data out of a PLM system with external members as well. So you're limited there. What do people do? They gravitate to and try to use generic file sharing tools and collaboration and communication tools to bridge that gap, the PLM collaboration gap. And so they're trying to take data from where it should be managed and throw it over the wall to systems where it should not be managed, systems that don't understand complex technical data that manufacturers need to be efficient in the market, and they're at a loss. There's no single solution on this page that truly meets the need of a manufacturer from a collaboration standpoint, and it certainly results in a disconnected thread of information. So again, back to what I said a few minutes ago, at Anarch, we're looking to bring the best collaboration features together into a single content collaboration platform for manufacturers that results in a closed loop technical data exchange. You get the file sharing app convenience and collaboration app simplicity blended together with the authoritative management and version control and process rigor of product lifecycle management, PLM, PDM tools, so that you get the best of all three worlds. But how do you do that? What would be the requirements if you were looking for a solution to do this? If you were looking for content collaboration for manufacturers, how would you do this? Well, you have to bring the best features together, such as simple file sharing for rapid collaboration, modern collaboration capabilities, natural real-time chat capabilities in a discussion feed, which matches the way people typically work. If you stop and think about what do you most commonly do to communicate with people on a day-to-day basis, regardless of your job, You open up Teams or Slack or another chat tool and send a message, or you send a text message on your phone. But that's the most natural way people communicate today. So you have to meet them where they work with the content that they need. To do that, you need robust automated PLM integration. You need, of course, once you do all of this, flexible IP security so that any collaborative process is fully secured. You can't just do this and automate the connection to PLM and then send that data out into the world. You need to know that it's going to remain secure and safe. Who's accessed it? Where did they access it? Do we control access on who can see what, when? So let's walk through a couple of these examples very quickly here. Starting with simple file sharing for rapid collaboration, you need to be able to drag and drop content just as you naturally would in any other content collaboration platform. But it doesn't start and end with just the technical content. You may have real-world pictures from the shop floor, from a supplier's site, from a field service example where you're working on the actual product itself and you find issues and problems. That information needs to be shared back. All of it needs to be easily shared back from the people that are getting the work done across the extended ecosystem. Beyond just simply dragging and dropping and sharing files and data, as we just saw, you also need to be able to mark it up and then discuss it. And it's not a mark up and just discuss it at one point in time within a model. You should be able to discuss related pictures that you've taken that highlight the problem. You should be able to capture videos and share that in the platform as well. All of the information that you need. And in some cases, you may just simply need to talk back and forth in a conversation for 5 minutes with each other to resolve something. That threaded discussion should be part of the collaborative process and should be fully traced back to engineering changes, for example. The data that's managed in PLM is oftentimes the #1 source of content collaboration for manufacturers. So without robust automated PLM integration, you are going to be out of sync with PLM's version control. What you need to be is fully synchronized with PLM's version control. You should be able to automate triggers based off of workflows and lifecycle states in PLM to publish data and maintain version synchronization with your content collaboration platform. And all of these conversations, all of this collaboration should be fully traceable back to the authoritative source of PLM. Security, security, security. If we're going to do any of this effectively as manufacturing organizations, then you must have flexible IP security to secure content collaboration for manufacturers. You can do this in a variety of different ways. You could have fileless content, which can't be downloaded and can't be printed unless you have permission to do so. You can put time-limited access on content and conversations. You can have dynamic watermarks, as we're seeing here, that map to who's accessing it when, or it could just be security statements on the documents. You need integrated capabilities with existing security policies so that your PLM security is usable over in your content collaboration platform as well. So it's one-to-one. And then last but certainly not least, if you do allow people to print or download any content, the security markings that we saw a moment ago should go along for the ride. Those should be there when they print it, and they are. So how is this all possible? How can you have a platform that does all of these things together? Well, it ultimately starts with web-based technical data packages. Once you have web-based technical data packages and fileless content on the web, you increase the level of flexibility that you have in terms of how you work and collaborate on technical content. You can set it up as a mobile-first environment where you're likely not going to do all of your complex design reviews on a mobile device, but you certainly can answer a question very quickly like you would a text message from your mobile device. And if you have the context, you're now collaborating in the context of the design data, so you can just quickly visually verify the text that you're about to send is correct. So a lot of flexibility comes with web-based technical data packages that make a closed loop technical data exchange fully integrated with PLM a possibility. One other important note about the requirements for content collaboration for manufacturers. You don't need to start with model-based definition. You don't need to start with MBD support. And a lot of companies are not utilizing MBD, especially from a highly mature MBD process approach. And that's fine. But to future-proof any system, as your engineering teams evolve and as your relationships and partnerships with suppliers evolve, you do want to know that the platform you're using has full MBD support. And that ensures that as you embed critical GD&T into your designs and capture product manufacturing information, or PMI, in your design data, you have all of that information accessible and actionable for anyone within the extended ecosystem. And this is very crystal clear that this is the direction of the industry in terms of where it's headed. If you look at the link on this slide from DoD Instruction 5097 that's just come out in November of last year for digital engineering, this is a DoD instruction that is requiring all future programs to utilize digital engineering best practices. A lot of really interesting descriptive language in there about what is a digital thread, what are the digital engineering best practices that need to be followed, and how does that drive and streamline collaboration within manufacturing. So timely in terms of this presentation, this topic, and that DoD instruction as a little bit of an indicator in terms of where the industry is headed over the next few years, and really where we are right now. So why is this all important? Well, it's important because when people are in the loop, it ensures that you're not missing any of those red circled collaboration moments that naturally happen when the work, where the work gets done and when the work gets done. So a great example of why this is important are for new technologies, emerging technologies like additive manufacturing. Collaborating within the context of additive manufacturing is not a straightforward thing today. Material specifications and validating and verifying that a part will perform the way it was designed for additive manufacturing is a collaboratively intensive process driven by back and forth conversations between designers, the fabricator, and the testing team who verifies that parts will perform the way they expect them to with additive. Without capturing all of that knowledge and capturing all of that dialogue, a lot of the critical IP in how parts can be designed going forward for additive is lost. And so this is a great example of how content collaboration that's tied into and closes the loop to the digital thread can really help manufacturers succeed. What other ways can manufacturers succeed? Well, it really is all about improving cycle times, reducing scrap and rework, reducing manufacturing costs, improving product quality overall, with very tangible benefits across the organization. Those are the top line or bottom line implications, but these come to life because of the amount of engineering time that's freed up by automating the packaging and sharing of data. So you go from a human-powered digital thread to an automated and integrated content collaboration platform for manufacturers where the technical data exchange and the technical publishing is all handled automatically. You have dramatic potential for reducing supplier interaction time because questions are answered in the context of the technical data and design information that's being shared. So long gone are the back and forth screenshots that get lost in email. People respond to email 2 weeks later and they can't find the information in the inbox. So instead of finding the information, they just resend another email and another request. You can do this in a much better way going forward. A reduction of engineering related errors that find their way out into the supply chain, that find their way out into the manufacturing shop floors internally. Reducing engineering errors dramatically reduces the scrap and rework that drive a lot of unforeseen manufacturing costs or unplanned manufacturing costs. And then just simply annual part fabrication costs in general. Using 3D data instead of just 2D data alone. A lot of manufacturers, a lot of suppliers, they'll still use a 2D print at the machine, but complementing that with 3D data results in significant savings on part fabrication costs. So a lot of opportunities to be gained here from closing the loop on a technical data exchange. If you'd like to learn more information on how Anarch can help you close the loop and connect people and collaboration data to your digital thread with full traceability and security, please reach out to us, send us an email, follow us on LinkedIn, or access the QR code here to take a look at our website and see what we can do to help you out. Thank you.